Hello class. In today's video we will be looking at improper fractions and mixed numbers. Okay, so as we start talking about improper fractions and mixed numbers, first thing I want to do is make sure we understand what a fraction is. Okay, so here we have a little chart, fraction, and a fraction is made up of a numerator on top and a denominator on the bottom. The numerator numbers the pieces that we have, tells how many. The denominator determines the whole. Numerator, denominator, pieces, whole. So in the example we have down here at the bottom, I have a square that is divided into 4 pieces. 4 pieces make up the whole. Therefore, my denominator is 4. Of the 4 pieces, I have 3 that are shaded. So the numerator naming those 3 pieces is 3. I have 3 pieces out of 4. So as we go into types of fractions, we have 3 types. The first one is a proper fraction. A proper fraction has a numerator numbering the pieces over the denominator determining the whole, and in a proper fraction the numerator is always smaller than the denominator. So we have some examples here. 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 8. In every one of these examples, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Therefore, this is considered a proper fraction. Another type of fraction is an improper fraction. In an improper fraction, you have more numerators, more in the numerator, than you do in the denominator. Okay, so 5 over 2, 7 over 4, or 12 out of 5. And some of you may be asking, well, how can you have more in the numerator than you have in the denominator? Well, think about it like pizza, for instance, okay? Can you have 5 halves of pizza? Well, you can, but in order for you to have 5 halves, you have to have more than 1 whole pizza. So in an improper fraction, the numerator is telling you there is more than 1 whole involved. A third way that fractions can be represented is what we call a mixed number. In this case, we have a whole and a fraction. So rather than having an improper fraction telling us that there is more than 1 whole, we know that there is more than 1 whole because it tells us with the whole number. So in this case, maybe I have 2 whole pizzas and 1/3 of a piece left over. In this case, maybe I have 7 pizzas and 5/9 in addition to the 7 whole pizzas. That is a mixed number. So what we need to be able to do today is to look at a fraction in the form of a mixed number and understand what it would be like as an improper fraction, or look at an improper fraction and understand and be able to determine what it would be like as a mixed number. So here we have an example. Okay, in this example, the whole is outlined in black. So here I have 1 whole bar and another whole bar, and I have a part of a whole that is represented right here. Now if you look at this whole bar, just kind of concentrate on this first one, you'll see that it is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Okay, so each one of these little squares here represents 1, our numerator, out of 5, our denominator. Okay, so we could say that this bar is 5/5. In this case, since we have 2 bars, another whole bar here, we have another 5/5. And over here, we don't have a complete bar. We have 1, 2, 3, our numerator, out of the whole, which is 5. So one way that we can look at this example right here is to say that, well, we have 5, 10, 13/5. But another way, and so I'm going to put another equal sign because these are all equivalent expressions. Another way we could look at this and say, well, there's 1 whole, there's 2 wholes, and there's 1, 2, 3/5. So what we see here is 13/5 is equal to 2 3/5. Now mathematically, let's take a look at that. What if we didn't have the diagram in front of us? Okay, well again, we could just take 13 and start subtracting out whole units, 5 out of 5. Okay, so we could say 13 minus 5 is 8, and I have enough to take out another whole unit, so 8 minus 5 equals 3. I cannot take another whole unit away. Let's move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so I've taken out 1 whole unit, I've taken out 2 whole units, and I have 3 left over. So again, 13/5 is equal to 2 3/5. Another way I could look at this is I could look at it as a division problem. What is 13 divided by 5? 13 divided by 5. 5 goes into there. 5, 10. I can get 2 out. 15. I can't get 3. I can get 2 units out. 2 times 5 is 10. 13 minus 10 is 3. I cannot get another whole set out, so I'm done, except I need to report my remainder. Okay, but what this remainder is it's a remainder of 3 out of a total of 5. So another way I can look at this is to say that 13/5 is 2 3/5. Well, what if I started out with the 2 3/5? How would I move to find out what the improper fraction is? Okay, and again, I can say, well, 1 is 5/5, and if I have 2, that's another 5/5, or 10/5, and 3 more, which is 13/5. Okay, the quickest way to do that is just take 2, the number of whole units, here I have 1, 2, times the number in the whole, so 2 times 5, which is 10, and add the ones that I have left over. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13, 13/5. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, now in this example, we have 1, 2, 3 whole units, and each whole unit is divided into 4 parts. So my denominator in every instance is going to be 4. In this case, I have 4/4 in the first one, 4 in the second, 4 in the third, and only 1 here. So this is 1, 2, 3 whole units, and a 4th left over. There we go, and a 4th. Or another way to look at that is 4, 8, 12. 12 plus 1 is 13/4. Okay, so 3 1/4 is the same as or equal to 13/4. And again, if we look at different ways to do this, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. How many times does 4 go into 13? 4, 8, 12. It goes in 3 times. And 13 minus 12 is 1, so there's 1/4 left over. Let's look at one more example. In this example, again, we have 2 whole units, only in this case, 1, 2, 3. Each square represents a third. And so we have a whole unit, or 3/3 here. We have a whole unit, or 3/3 here. And in this last one, we have 2 out of the 3. So what we have is 1, 2 whole units, and 2/3. Or 3, 6, plus 2 more, 8 thirds. And again, to convert that, 3 times 2 is 6. That gives me my 6, 3, 6. 6 plus 2, okay, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more equals 8. If I'm given the improper fraction, and I want to know the proper, or excuse me, the mixed number, 8 divided by 3. Well, 3, 6 gives me 2 whole units, 6 over 3, but I have 8, so that's 2 extra, 2 left over, so 2 whole units and 2/3. Okay, so that's our instructional part for today. Now we're going to do some practice. Hope you found this helpful.